welcome. Over the Top Podcast. This is your boy HD with the Over the Top Podcast crew. Hey guys, like always, thank you for supporting our movement. Thank you for supporting our podcast. And we try to bring good content, solid content, not the old, the relation, without the old stuff you see on the social media, something with some substance to it. So I do thank you for participating. Also, we have a friend that be interested in what we bring to the table. Please invite them to Over the Top Podcast on WDJY Wednesday night 6 p.m. Also on our YouTube page, also on Spotify, Amazon, and where else you should get your podcast, listen to your podcast. So we got that out the way. Let's see who we got on deck. I'm not gonna start with Toya today because the last couple of times she got mad at me. RJ, what's going on, man? What you up to?
Um, Feeling good, man. Feeling good and feeling really positive. So
Good
yeah.
stuff. Good stuff. Playmaker G, what's the deal, man?
Hey man, I'm feeling great, man. Even though it's not Black History Month anymore, I'm still appreciating blackness.
Hey man, every day is Black History Month. So every day is Black History Month. We just don't celebrate like we should. But that's good stuff. Good stuff. Lady T, how you doing, Toya?
I'm doing excellent. What up, though?
What's going on with you?
I'm doing good. I'm good. I'm refreshed. I'm reset. Focused.
Ain't nothing like a mental reset to start to get things back in line, ain't it?
Yes, I went to the water. They say wade in it. I waded in it.
That's right. That's right. Well, let's keep pushing, man. What we got on deck?
All right, so we got a video, and I will play the video.
I'm probably as fuck, y'all, but I know that many of you don't understand what that means. So I'm going to draw you a diagram to explain what my life looks like as a solo poly person. So I am at the center and I am my primary partner. There are people who I'm exploring, people who I'm dating, my friends with benefits who I'm romantic with and sexual with, my lovers who I'm sexual with, my partners who I'm 10 toes down with, satellites who come in and out of my life, and playmates who I play with in the kink and swinging spaces.
Dear Toya, this poly life seems to be the new thing for people. What do you and the Over the Top crew think of this? Signed, why are we like this?
Let's switch. I'm starting to Playmaker. What's your thoughts, man?
The way that I look at it, it doesn't matter the excessiveness of the lifestyle. If that's your lifestyle, that's your lifestyle. If that's what you choose to do, that's what you choose to do. So, it is not my cup of tea, but, who am I to tell people how to drink their tea?
Okay. Touche. RJ.
Assuming that all parties are halfway responsible, fine and well, but it's not the lifestyle for me. The thought process that I have in relationship to where the young lady is, and I'm not judging her because I can't throw stones because I live in a glass house. I've done some things that I'm not necessarily proud of. However, in that space, if you look at the number of people that she spoke of being intimate with, that's a lot of different people. And there are a number of different factors and things that can impact you in a negative way. And then also you transfer in spirits every time you make love and you interact with people.
Say it again.
So you have to be mindful of the fact of who and what you're inviting into your body. And I know some of us unwittingly have done this in the past and not necessarily been aware of it, but now when you're aware of it, you're accountable for your actions. So for me, I wouldn't live that type of lifestyle. But I'm an older, more seasoned human being now. So that's where I stand. No judgment though, but I wouldn't live that lifestyle.
I don't know. I mean, so I looked at it, and the lifestyle that our lifestyle she living is a very risky lifestyle. Now I know she probably get tested and stuff. But that's like I said, that's a whole lot of people swapping a whole lot of fluids with each other. That's a lot. I think that. I mean, the lifestyle I've chosen to live is being conventional marriage like with my wife, and I love it. So I'm not swearing it. If I was a single man and my mind was somewhere else on the other, I don't know if I'd be to that extent, but I know single men have we used to call them staples. You always have a couple of chicks on deck. And I know single ladies keep a couple of keep a couple of stray cats laying hovering around the house too. I'm just saying, I'm calling it where I call it.
Don't
Now I
be
call it what
judging.
I
Don't
see
be
it.
judging.
I'm not. I'm just calling what I see it. So as a single person, a single lifestyle, I mean, and if everybody know everybody, and it's a small responsible group, okay, do you? Well, but but the hide behind the label because you want to be, and I ain't gonna call it the call. You want to be risque, fast in the tail, as the old folk call it. That's what I think she's doing. I think she's being fast in the tail, but that's my 2 cents. T, what's your thoughts?
Risque.
Risque.
First of all, she's young. So she seems young. I don't know how old she is, but black don't crack. She looks young. And young people do what they do. Like Ron said, when we were younger,
That's right.
we was out here in these streets doing what we do. But until we learned better. Now there's a name for it. And again, there's no judging. I'm not judging. I do not judge a polyamorous lifestyle. My problem is that somebody trying to pull you into a polyamorous lifestyle, they'll judge you for wanting to be monogamous in a minute. That's what's crazy to me. But I think there was 23 names on that list, 23 circles. It was a lot. She had a whole round table and the outside round table and then the outside round table.
Yeah.
How many times are you being tested? Like, if I have to go through my life constantly getting tested, obviously, if you're getting tested, you're not using protection. And like Ron said, when you get to a certain age, you realize that you are swapping souls. That energy that you are leaving with other people and that they are leaving on you, and all of y'all out here living y'all love fest free, getting squirted up in walls and stuff like that. That's a problem.
My thing is, what time you have to do anything else? If you got 25 people on deck, yeah, do you work?
Look,
Do you have that kind of thing there?
Check this out though. We got to really understand. Sometimes when it get good too, female, they'll tell you to go ahead and shoot the club up, right?
Don't
I
do
heard,
it.
I heard Yanni Awakening say this, man. He said, man, whenever you are intimate with a young lady, your sperm bonds with her body chemically, embeds in the wall, and then travels up her spine into her nervous system and embeds in her brain. That's why they say you have a central soul tie. And then there's another part of it that when we are intimate with females, there's a chemical that's released into us, especially if we love them. Because we have this conversation about what makes sex good. It's chemistry more than anything else. Chemistry and attraction. It may not necessarily be that the person is the most attractive. You just might have the best chemistry with that particular person. But once you release that oxytocin and you had intercourse with this young lady, you become closer to her. And then when you take her into your spirit and say, oh man, I would kill or die for this woman, that's a whole nother different level, man. And so to me, we have to understand the level and the importance of intimacy. And that's one of the things that we're losing, man.
But
We're losing.
I can honestly say that you don't really realize like how we're talking. If Quentin was here, he'd probably have a whole nother, young people's answer. We're old. And so we have gotten to that point of saying intimacy is extremely important. Pleasure is important, but when you get to a certain age, leaving those soul ties and you learn that. You learn that you are swapping with somebody. But when you're young, you got to think about when we were in college and how we were, especially some of y'all here. Not myself, because I'm an angel, but y'all Negroes.
But I think I think you have. Oh, go ahead, Ron.
Jerry Jones just took another paternity test. Hey, dude, like 100 years old. Hey, come on, Slim. Hey man, we out of control in America, man. That's all I'm gonna say.
Jerry Jones still knocking them down, yo.
For
But
me,
you know,
for me, this young lady, I just hope that she is being safe and she is protecting herself in every way possible. I mean, if you like it free and with a whole bunch of different people, that's your business. You put it on social media for us to mind the business that doesn't pay us.
well,
So we're
and I
talking
think
about
this story, I think a poly relationship can be intimate as long as it's done the right way. I don't think 25 partners is intimate. But if you have like a small little, if you was a single person, have a small little, group, and y'all do what y'all do, I think it could be intimate. Come on, play. What do you think, Playmaker? They get Playmaker back.
no,
What do you think about
no,
this right quick, Play?
no.
What's your
I
thought?
don't think you can be intimate with 25, 30 people. I
Right. 4 or 5.
That's a
community
whole
names
orgy.
and faces, so I don't think it can happen with me. You know, I'm going
25
to miss
too much.
birthdays, anniversaries. I'm
Yeah, I'm gonna
I'm
miss
just
all
not.
that. But 4 or 5 ain't bad though. Is it 3 or 4?
4 or
Is 3
5
or
is
4?
first of all most, and
You
this is
know,
how they think
you know.
because when it for our age group, it's usually one man and 4 younger women, and they have a whole poly lifestyle. And for him, it's the pleasure. And because these women are either bisexual or gay, um, that's okay because he's being pleasured in every way, even if he's just watching. But for young people who are in it, they have several different, like there's 2 guys and 2 girls and they're swap. You know what I'm saying? This whole conversation is just
They move
Hey,
in
reflect on
together,
this part
group
though.
economics, save money. I mean, it's a lot of
see,
evidence
and
out there.
that's literally how they think. If look, I saw a video the other day. Hey, let me get my baby mama, and then I'm gonna bring you into this, and then we all live. Look at how much money we saving. I
Break
mean,
that thing
it's
by
really
3.
good math and the math, but women literally something's going to happen. There's
Women
It's
are
going
hard
very
for
to be some
women
jealousy
and men to share the
somewhere.
same space like that.
Yeah,
it
I
is.
don't like to share, so there it is for you. I'm not sharing nothing. And even if you say, well, you don't know if, and I've had this sentence, you don't know if that man is being faithful. But once I find out that he is, then I'm out the door if he's not being faithful. But it's my decision to say I prefer to be in a monogamous relationship than be with you, Shaquita, Louita, and Asia.
You know,
I just can't
you
do
know
it.
what I would like to. It would be interesting research though to see how many of these people that we're talking about that are doing a polyamorous lifestyle are college educated. And then when you look at the numbers,
The younger ones are.
but this is what I'm talking about in terms of just like college educated and have been on a campus, because the females outnumber the males in most situations 2 to 3 to 1 at most campuses. And I ain't gonna lie, man. That's why I say I live in a glass house. When I got to our identified school, I ain't gonna say the name because I'm talking on some
Everybody know
rackness right now. But
the ratio was 17-1 when you got to our identifier.
it wasn't that bad. I thought it was like 8 to 1,
Nope,
9 to
it
1.
was 17.
And I
Actually,
was thinking
now the
like,
Clemson
hey,
University is backwards. It's more men at Clemson University than there is at women. How about that?
at where?
Clemson University.
Yeah,
When
that's
I just went
crazy.
that thing, they had more men. That's the first I ever heard. I never went to a school where there was more men than women.
I ain't never heard that either.
And he didn't go there neither. I
In
understand.
that G's whack school, because it was, smart. That woke him up. Look at that.
not them golden bulls. Not them golden bulls. Shout out to the golden bulls.
There was more, the ratio the women were higher to men.
But you know, a lot of us, man, was walking around there thinking like, I'm gonna get my 8 to 9 to 1, however many it is to 1.
And I'm gonna get
Everybody was
somebody else's too. Somebody else's too. Go, you say
All right,
Playmaker.
we're
Get
gonna
in there,
finish
Playmaker.
this conversation
All right.
because it has just gotten totally off track.
Where
our
Be
thoughts?
responsible. That's what we're gonna say. Be responsible.
That's
Last words, Playmaker. You want give Gary? What you want to add some else before we get out here? This
No, I was just going to say, as I was listening to everyone talk about, the 20, 30 plus people, but, if you have a person that gets with a person who is very active, it's just like that person has slept with those 30 or 40 people anyway, even if they're in even if they're not in a poly situation. So, it's very interesting when you talk about the connection of souls, because that one person could have been with 50 people, then or with that one person who was a virgin, and now that one person has been with 51 people.
That part.
Crazy, and she had it all
And
crazy.
it's crazy, but we didn't. Like I said, young people are doing what young people do. We didn't think about that when we were young. We were just out here, y'all were just, I'm not going to say we, because I'm still that angel. Y'all was just out here spraying up souls. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. So
yeah,
I hope that she is being responsible like she says she is. It's live your life. Live your life. But now you have this new thing called, body count. Men don't want women with high body counts. But she done already said she got 23 in the hole. So,
well, it depends now. So somebody said if you don't use contraceptive, if you're not using the condom, the body count don't count if you're not using the condom.
You know what? Shut up.
Condom body count don't count.
Sometimes I feel like y'all are so intelligent, but y'all so dumb.
I'm just saying what you said.
I heard it was a lady saying that, man, and it disturbed me. Like,
I know. All right, T, they wrap it up so we can that's a whole other conversation.
How did you get serious after this mess? For your question, as always, you can find me at AskToya, TOIA at 74 at gmail.com or AskToya on Facebook. Keep them coming.
Good stuff, guys. We're gonna jump right in. I know we're gonna get a little serious. Well, a little serious, but we're gonna be all right. Tonight we'll talk about the Black Republican. So, according to Pew Research Center, today only about 1 out of 10 Black adults identify with or lean towards the Republican Party. In the Pew Research Center survey in October, only 4% of registered voters said they will vote for a Republican candidate for the U.S. House Senate seat in their district. Black Republicans are different than the counterparts of the Black Democrats in one key way, that they tend to support an individualistic approach to addressing racial inequities, while the Black Democrat tend to support an institutional approach. The Black Republicans are more likely than Black Democrats to say that the bigger problem for Black people is racism is committed by an individual person as opposed to racism in our laws or systems, in our laws and systems. And they are less likely to support a complete institutional overhaul for systems such as the prison, which is 57 to 37%, policing, and judicial process. Both policing was actually coming by hard count. The Black Republicans wouldn't overhaul at 29 to the Democrat would love to overhaul at 52%. That's a great number. So to ensure fair treatment to Black people. Hey man, that jumped right into it. Toya, is today's Republican Party is the same that was when the majority of Blacks were supporting that party?
No. No. So during the as you know, we were Republicans because Republican was the party of Lincoln. And during Reconstruction and into the civil rights, Republican was our party because it was for us, basically. It's when, like we always say during Reconstruction, is when we were actually getting it right. And then, of course, once Johnson, is it Lyndon? I think it was Lyndon Johnson, who in the 1960, the Civil Rights Act, people started going over to Democratic Party because of that. So now it ain't the same today. Oh, I'm sorry. Let me.
So how do you see the Democratic Party today? As I mean, I'm add on to your question a little bit. How do you see the Democratic Party today as opposed to what it is
right now? Honestly,
not the Republican Party, not the Democratic Party, the Republican Party.
You are voting for the lesser of two evils, for the most part. Literally. Y'all know I hate talking politics, but you are voting. Okay,
we can leave it there. I won't press you. We won't press you.
I be one to cuss when I talk politics, but you are voting for the lesser of two evils right now. But your vote has to really count.
That's
Or we
true.
gonna be back in 1865, and I'm moving to Canada or
Jamaica somewhere.
the UK.
Playmaker, I'm coming with you with this one. Do you believe that there is some truth to the idea of racism is an individual issue rather and not an institutional issue?
Yes, I believe there's a lot of truth to that because when you look at the institutions, who created the institutions and who is maintaining the institutions and who is so. I mean, yeah, yes, we do have racist institutions, but you have people who are fueling those institutions and allowing them to remain racist.
Okay. All right, Jeff, I'm coming with you with this one. Do you believe that the notion of all you have to do is pull yourself up by your bootstraps and anybody can achieve and that anybody can achieve the American dream is true?
Um, I say something this week, man, and I hate to be quoting the source and not necessarily have the source, but it wouldn't let me say the video. The video was so powerful that it was truly interesting. The American government during World War II facilitated the growth of the middle class. Now, how they facilitated the growth of the middle class? Through the GI Bill. What was the GI Bill? When people came back home from World War I and II, they were afforded the opportunity to get loans or housing at a cheap and a very low rate. How do the vast majority of Americans create wealth in the traditional sense in America? It's through home ownership. So if you have the ability to pass your home down to that next generation, you've created equity, money, and ownership, and that money can be transitioned into other different things and vehicles. Well, those institutions were just directed towards people of Caucasian descent. The GI Bill wasn't meted out the same to Blacks or African Americans the same way. In a class called Undoing Racism that was offered here in Guilford County in Greensboro, they really spoke to the differences and the disparities that were part of it. So essentially, America created what they call the middle class. They created it, and they didn't have any intention on African Americans or Latinos or any other group demographically expanding into that space. Now, over the years, we've been able to come up and kind of level that off. But essentially, where we are lost at this current time is those institutions now are asserting their will over the people, so to speak, in the form of gerrymandering districts, in the form of creating aspects of things that control the economics, that kill the American dream. And so what we have to do, and I heard a number today that really devastated me. In Louisiana, they had this governor who is totally against democratic reforms, repealing parole in Louisiana, doing all these different types of real left field types, that like real right wing type stuff, right? And essentially, the majority of the people in Louisiana, I think it's like 1/5 of them voted. 800,000 to almost 1 million people stayed home. And they don't have the representation that they want. And their people are going to be put in situations that they can't stand against that system. So when you start thinking about the Republican Party and pull yourself up by your bootstraps, like Martin Luther King said, they gave immigrants land. Even when the immigrants coming in right now, they're giving them land and housing for free. We've been here and we've helped build this country, and we've gotten very little for free. So what I would say to you, no, I don't believe in terms of aspects of the American dream or pulling yourself up by your bootstraps, because a lot of times we've not had straps to pull ourselves up by. And then also when we secured lands and we secured and we had circumstances where we had money, those things were taken from us.
That part.
They were stolen from us.
Right.
So we have to have the awareness that we cannot let them paint this picture of us. We're great people, and we can't forget our history, and we have to teach it to our children.
Now that's definitely a fact. So around 3 out of 10 Black Republicans, about 28%, are between the ages of 18 and 29. Black Republicans compared to Black Democrats live in upper income houses, which is 12% to 10%, or middle income houses, which is 37% versus 40%. Black Republicans are less likely than Black Democrats, 22 to 34%, to attend predominantly black churches. Black Republicans are also more likely than Black Democrats, 21% versus 6%, to say that blackness is a little or not at all important to how they think about themselves. Black Republicans are less likely than Black Democrats, also 44 to 73%, to say that racial discrimination is the main reason Black people cannot get ahead in the United States, and they are more likely to say that Black people who cannot get ahead are mostly responsible for their own condition. Black Republicans compared to Black Democrats also 39 to 45% say that the equality for Black people in the United States is a little or not at all likely. In fact, only 15% of Black adults either party see correlation says that equality for Black people is extremely or very likely. T, I'm coming with you with this one, to you. Do you believe that the impact of Black Republican Party messaging has gotten to have mentioned our young Black people, has attracted our young Black people?
What you didn't say in there is that so you said 18 to 29 is the age of that is going over to Republican.
Mm-hmm.
And most of them are statistically they're actually poorer than that age group who are Democrats. And like Ron just said, it's that thing, they have that thinking of you can pull yourself up by your bootstraps, and because the Republican Party, which is predominantly rich white men, it looks appeasing, if that makes sense. But it's also too about teaching your children history and knowing, what it is and how, what everything Ron just said, knowing your history and knowing that even when you do get something, it's liable to be taken away. Now, also, what we were talking about earlier is that our kids don't see color. And we have this conversation every day almost, because like I said, a couple of weeks ago, Zoe has Megan and all these white friends. And I think I asked her, I was like, well, do you have any Black friends? Well, she does. She doesn't see the color. They don't see color. So it's not how we are with knowing the history, knowing what's happened to us, and living out in the world and trying to prepare our kids for when they go outside of their community. And even though they're in school, and that color thing is not, it's a blur. It's just like, what's your pronoun? Like, they understand that completely. And it's still hard for me to understand. And I'm usually just like, well, what the baby name is? Because can I just call him by his name? That hard.
But you know
Right.
what though? One thing that's generated the issue in our community, or in our country, not our community, in our country at large. Trump is a phenomenon that we've never seen before. There's never been a person that has been blatantly as aggressive and racist in American culture in the lexicon over the last 125 to 130 years that's been afforded the leeway that he's been given. And he has created a whole party and a thought process that has transitioned people who were kind and decent, because my kids went to schools with predominantly Caucasian kids, and they had a pretty good experience up until the time Trump started to run for office. And it was a different ballgame, wholly. Even the teachers. My child had and I'm gonna say this and I'm gonna be quiet. My child's school had a teacher that had a "Don't Tread on Me" flag highly flying in his room, in his classroom. Don't tread on me in the classroom. But if that was a gay flag or Black Lives Matter, there would have been a problem.
Well, in Tennessee just passed the law that you cannot fly the gay pride flag in the classrooms in
But
that
I want,
state. So that's
can I
very
add something
interesting.
to this? To what you asked. Also, when I say that the younger Black Republicans are poorer, meaning that they probably grew up in the system. And so their mind is, I don't want to be in that system. I want to not have to have government handouts, because we all know that it's a vicious cycle sometimes if we're not doing the things that we're supposed to do. So a wonderful video the other day about it, but we'll talk about it's actually as Toya. But so their mindset is, I don't want to be every 30 days waiting on the government to give me something. I want to be able to make it ourselves. Now, do you have to be a Republican to do that? Because we know we're an amazing people, but that's how they're seeing it.
Okay. Good stuff. Playman, I'm gonna come with you, but I'm gonna get off a tangent a little bit. I'm trying to stay with a little bit, but we talk about that our children do not see color. Is that a negative thing or a good thing?
I think it's both. I think the positive of that is that they feel like they are limitless. So they don't feel like there is a limitation to what they can achieve within this country. So that's the positive. The negative part of that is if they ever come across a point in which they do experience it, it is very shocking because they're experiencing it late in life. They're experiencing it with and they're caught off guard. So I think I know that doesn't really answer your question, but I would say that it is both is a double-edged sword. Not having limits, not feeling like you have limits is an incredible thing to make you go out and push yourself to achieve and to break through glass ceilings. And the other aspect of it is once you get close to breaking that glass ceiling, and you get checked and brought back to your to a racist perspective, it is culture shock.
And it's funny, and I'm asking a question, but I don't pick up what you're saying. That it is definitely true. We were growing up, we was prepared for racism. Our parents prepared us from 6, 7 years old. This white person you keep. It's a city where we live in. I'm from Centralville, Malden, Greenville. And we always been taught, even as a young kid, when you're going through Malden, straighten up, drive straight, and slow down. Because put your seatbelt on, put that out. Open that window. Look at. I'm gonna
That's where
meet
they
you
got
somewhere
KG at,
else,
right? That's where
huh?
they got KG at, right?
What that what kid you was born in Malden? Yeah. So,
Mm-hmm.
but we was taught at an early age. Hey, don't we wasn't blindsided as Larry. But anyway, I thought that was an interesting point you brought in. Playmaker, I'm gonna stand with you with this one. As looking at these numbers, what are some of the differences and similarities when it comes to Black Republicans and Democrats that you think that was shown?
Looking at the numbers, it's kind of obvious is that race is not at the core of what these is not at the core of what they believe the party represents. So it is removing that layer of race. There's always been a talk of, oh, how do we get the Black vote? But if people don't believe that there is a Black vote, then what is the draw to one party versus another?
Interesting point. Interesting. Okay. Hey, Real, I'm coming with you. If you want to piggyback on that, you can, but I'm gonna come with you with this question. The article states that Black Republicans are less likely than Black Democrats to have a strong tie to Black identity and other Black people. What is your thoughts and opinion on that statement?
Read the last part out again. You said Black identity, right?
Right, Black identity and other Black people.
Um,
Say it, fellas. Say it. Say it with your chest. Don't ponder. Say it with your chest. You know what I mean?
A good way to say it, yo.
was really tough, man. And this is something that I've been dealing with recently. Like, I don't have a problem with no race or group of people in terms of like overt hatred. My issue is with the people that has that hatred or that anger against me. However, I aggress against those that aggress against me. However, here's the thing that I've seen, and this is what's scary about who we are, and endemic of where we are right now. In order for this country to effectively work, you need a permanent underclass. Who identifies easiest to be put in that place of being a permanent underclass? People of color and people that can effectively assimilate. Now, if we start talking truths here, a lot of African Americans at the turn of the century, not this term, but 1900s, at the turn of the century, didn't seek to integrate into the culture at large. They used the larger resources that were a part of the community, but they had their own intricate communities, and they essentially voted as blocks. That's the part I was going to touch on the back part of what G said, because you would go to your churches, they would organize you, and you would go out from the church or the mosque or the synagogue, wherever you went, and you voted as a block. So what we effectively have lost the power is, part of us feels like we have overcome, and we've been essentially through this thing called whiteness, have been assimilated into a system that the vast majority of people who come to America desire to be a part of that system. Whereas we are being birthed into it, essentially not held hostage, but in a hostile place, in a sense, because this is not a place of our own choosing.
Okay.
So if you think about, let me finish this other part of it. When you think about that fact, this is not a place of our own choosing, and then we've had to make the best of it, what it creates is a level of pushback, and then also the messaging in the 60s and the 70s of the Black exploitation films, various different things have eroded Black excellence. And that erosion and that loss of that stick-to-itiveness and do it yourself that came out of the Reconstruction era into the 1920s, 50s, and 60s got disseminated with this ideal that we can assimilate into a society who never really truly wanted to embrace aspects of who we are. They have made whole all different types of groups, Chinese and the Japanese doing the internment camps. They made whole the indigenous people, the Indians of this country. A lot of different people that they made the Jewish people whole. They gave them a homeland, which was somebody else's homeland. A lot of people have been made whole, but we haven't been made whole as of yet.
And we won't be.
So that's the thought process that we have to have. And also, when you think about every other culture that comes here, Cubans, Latinos, they want to assimilate into this thought process that, I hate to say it, it's whiteness. And it's something that was the I think it's the 1619 project. Yeah. Identifying that aspect of it, the creation of the thought process of whiteness is what they're assimilating into, and what's disseminated around the world as if it's the primary ideal, so much so that it affects ancient cultures. If you look at the East Asians, they're affected by it. When you look at other cultures throughout the world, they're affected by it. That's why when I look at like the Polynesians and they do the haka, man, I love it. You know why? Because they're rooted in their culture. That's ethnically based in who they are. And so much of who we are has been disseminated or disintegrated or tasked with assimilating to something that has never wanted us to assimilate within it. They've always wanted our tools, our gifts, but aspects of it. And these are the powers that be. I'm not talking about everyday people. But the powers that be don't want us to do that. And I'm going to say one thing and I'm going to shut up. You think about Jeff Bezos, BlackRock, some of those other people. They went out and purchased all of the homes that are single family homes that people can purchase, buy, and live in. Why did they do that? To raise the rent, to create a higher standard of living that people can't reach, essentially, in the corner of the market.
This is true. This is true. Okay. So one of the groups
Politics is money, Hank.
It is. It is. Playmate, you want to add something to that, sir? You're on mute.
Were you about to get into the round table, or you had more questions?
I have. Well, you want to wait? You want to wait and add yours?
I'll wait. Yeah, I'll wait.
Right. So it's a group called the Black Conservative Federation, and it's the BCF, and it's a national network of the GOP activists dedicated to expanding the Black conservative movement. The multi-pronged approach addresses disparities and apathy in the politically marginalized communities. Here are some of the things you need to know about them. Their mission and statement. The BCL serves as a premier Black hub for Black conservative. Their goal is to expand, sustain conservative principles and strengthen the communities. They take a value approach. The Federation emphasize integrity, discourage aim to disagree without being disagreeable. Okay. They engage in communities and dissemblifies conservatism, promote understanding. They're also advocate for freedom, process, and empowerment. The BFL actually works to advance conservative principles within the Black community. It focuses on economic stability, education opportunities, and community empowerment. So I'm going to do with this. So this is the roundtable. I'm going to start with you with this one. There. Do you believe that the BCF and the Republican Party can actually address the needs of the Black community?
So short answer is no, but I don't think any party is trying to address all the needs of the Black community. And then I'll even go further to say that I'm not sure if all the Black people know what are our needs currently within the society. When you look at like what Ron was saying, we used to vote as blocks, and that's because we all wanted the same things. But now when you look at the way that the parties are set up now, you have extreme views on different things, and you have to kind of pick and choose which item means the most to you. So, for example, if you are from a religious background and you don't believe in abortion, then you have to kind of lean toward one candidate. But if you are witness and being a victim or seeing victims of gun violence, then that's a bigger issue and you want to vote a different way. So I think that the politics now is not necessarily looking more for at race. It's more of individuals saying what means the most to me, what issue means the most to me, and that's the party or candidate that I will support.
Okay. Tori, I know I'm gonna get you back in the conversation. What do you think about that? Because there's a round table, and do you see a trend that more Black people are switching to the Republican Party in the future?
Nah. Well, as far as young people, probably yes. If the numbers say, so I was reading an article that said that hopefully in the future that it's moving more Black people back over to the Republican Party. So they're looking for ways to get Black people over to their party. So what better ways? It's just like when we were talking about Fat Joe the other day in the sneaker and him buying the Trump sneaker and just stupid stuff like that. And then say, well, I don't promote Trump in any way, but sir, you just did. So it's just little stuff like that. Like literally he said, oh, I made this for the Blacks because, all we do is buy sneakers. And I'm a sneakerhead, so I'm not going, but still, I'm not buying that sneaker. But
he said he's a collector. So he got to collect the good and the bad. That's $400 a pop.
Whatever.
That part.
But when you're having celebrities and hip hop artists saying, okay, I support this person because it all sounds good. And if, like Ron was saying, if these kids don't see color, and G said, when they get to that point and they hit the glass ceiling and get knocked down, are they going to fall on their ass and not be able to get back up? Because we're not teaching them how?
Good point. Good point. But I'm gonna jump in and ask. We got a little time, and I ain't gonna. I'm pushing back a little bit because if you don't, what's the main reason, in my opinion, and tell me if I'm wrong. In my opinion, the main reason, because I always say, you heard me say this numerous times. When you look at Democrat, Republican, two fans on the same state, I think I think both of the parties have racist tendencies. I haven't seen both of the parties actually address our particular needs. So with that being said, if the Republican Party take out the racism, wouldn't that be more black Republicans? Ron, I mean, what you think of that, Ron? Your thought?
I seen something today that was really interesting. The evangelical principles are the defining part of what's the difference. And aspects of what the evangelical right-wing thought process has created an aspect that's exclusionary to essentially all cultures. And so when you think about that thought process, a lot of what creates the problem here is that it's not about effective assimilation, because I think all cultures assimilate into what we consider the mainstream culture. But what effectively eliminates people from gaining access is the color of their skin. And we're not necessarily. I think one of the things that Trumpism has done, it has created a vehicle for people who want to exercise in that and stand in that evangelical thought process. It has empowered them. And if you look at this one decision this last week with the Alabama Supreme Court and that justice engaging legal argument with religion, man, we off the rails. Y'all, I mean, we don't even really understand how far the cheese has slipped off of our crackers.
Oh, it's off the cracker, buddy.
Because we're talking about 3 branches of government: president, legislative, and judicial.
Yeah.
Those 3 are not operating separate of each other in some aspects. And one of the things that has happened, and that's why this is probably the most important political season of our lives, not just state and local representatives, because the state and local representatives are the one who gerrymanders the maps that create opportunities to send people to Congress to facilitate some of the things that we see voted on in the Senate and the congressional caucus. And then also, I'm gonna put this out here, and we should, as Americans, ask ourselves this: why should Wyoming have the same number of senators that California does? Think about that. Think about that. Effectively, Congress was supposed to balance that out. And so the number of people that we have in Congress was supposed to facilitate that. However, if the districts are gerrymandered in congressional offices, and then you have 2 representatives from the state, and some of these states are least populated, it's a whole bunch of land. You're talking about Idaho, Wyoming, North Dakota. Man, they might have 2-3 million people in the whole daggone state. America is somewhere in the neighborhood of about 350, 400 million people.
Yeah. What's your thought on that, Playmaker? Get back in. What's your thoughts on that? Get back in right quick.
Oh wow, there's a lot has been discussed. But I still go back to where Ron was going with religion. I remember a couple of years ago when abortion was hot again, sitting in church, and the pastor didn't tell you who to vote for, but he said abortion was wrong. And based off biblical, thou should not kill. He based off of the text. So if you, and he's a black man, my pastor's a black man. So I didn't really like him mixing religion and politics. But if you listen to how he felt so strongly about that, you would have to question: is he a Republican or Democratic?
He's a
Democrat first
Republican.
off of, but is it just based off of just one issue that is super important to him, based off of his interpretation of the Bible? So when you talk about the rise in the Black Republicans, I think, like we said earlier, if you eliminate the association of race and race, like we all say, if you're black, you're supposed to vote Democrat, which
well, we didn't all say that. Your prayer that your body said that. We didn't all say that.
Exactly. You're correct. You're correct. But if you take away race, I think it boils down to what issues are the most important to me, because I'm not going to get everything that I want from either side. So I got to pick what is the
lesser of two evils.
Exactly.
Here's the thing too, where we are talking about the rise of Black Republicans, also because the climate, the minority change, it's shifting. So white people are becoming less, and you have to think, well, that's probably one reason we have these new abortion laws, because by a certain time, there will be less. They're not the majority anymore. No, they are becoming the minority, and we're not the ones on the rise. Of course, the Latino and Asian are on the rise, but so in the sense of it, when you think about it, the rise of Republicans is because of that minority change, that majority change that's going on.
Good
You
stuff.
know what?
Oh, you got last word, Ron.
You know what's the real problem, man? I'm gonna be honest with you, and I'm gonna put this in the lexicon for everybody to process. One of my friends, we have a lot of political debates, and part of that political debate is where, God rest her soul, Ruth Bader Ginsburg did something that was extremely selfish. Instead of retiring, she died in office. And if Obama would have been able to get Merrick Garland on the court, we wouldn't be dealing with some of the stuff that we're dealing with right now. And so what we need to really recognize is we need to vote our conscience on election day. And we need to get out here in these local elections and understand the candidates that support the things that we believe in, as Playmaker G said, and exercise our right to vote. Let's get right. Let's get out here. Let's vote. And then consciously, it's not anything wrong with us voting as a block. And I think that's what Ice Cube tried to do in terms of making talking of Trump in relationship to that negotiation. And we need to be more of a voting block and identify more with what we deem as important for our community.
That's a good way in. Hey, man, I said over the top. We try to bring the information, something to chew on and something to take back, and something to think about. So, Playmaker, your last words for the night.
I think Ron did a very good summary, so I'll just add just 2 cents to that. So regardless of who you affiliate with, whether it's a Republican, Independent, or Democrat, exercise your right to vote.
Told your last word.
Take your kids with you when you vote. The girls, I think they've only missed one time with me as I'm going to vote. Let them know the process. In elementary school, they actually voted, had that done when it was time to vote. I don't know if middle schools do it or high schools do it, but take them with you so they know how the process is, and to have that conversation with them. So this is how we are bringing in our future and letting them know that their vote does matter.
RJ, last words.
Hey, man, please fight the voter apathy. Get out and vote, man. Because, and not just in the presidential election, in the local, state and local elections, it's extremely important that we let our vote be counted. It's more important to us, as Killer Mike said, to let our vote be counted in the local elections to ensure that we get the things that we need in our communities. So get out and vote. Don't become apathetic to the process. Get out and vote.
They said today voting the black vote has voting disparity since 2012. 2012 last time Barack was in office. After that, the black vote has declined. Guys, I think we've been hoodwinked before by chasing the money and chasing the bag. Financially and economically is extremely important. Please don't get it wrong. But I think the true power is in political power. You can have all the money in the world, but if I create the laws, I still control you.
There it is.
You can have all the money in the world. The true power, ladies and gentlemen, and the people listeners, is the power to vote and find your representative to make the laws that is needed for our community and to build up our community. Hey guys, great show. Thank you for your input. And like always, may your next move be the game changer.